I have no idea about what's going on with the CreepShow art video, so maybe we'll do that one because people people have been like really asking me to watch the CreepShow, like to just educate myself on CreepShow art. And so I guess I could do that. I mean, it's not a bad idea. I've never found a resource to watch and be like, oh, this is good. This is pretty pogger. So let's see. Let's change that to name of the person, June of the King. Hopefully I'm saying that right. I just don't know how to speak, so you know how it is, guys. Sure, we could do this. Bro, you know what was annoying? Somebody was like, oh, I've done a couple of videos where I watch long videos. I've always done this. If I watch a really long video, sometimes I'll play a game or something just to break up the time. It gives like something to look at while we listen to this. It gives me something to do. And then someone's like, I miss the old videos where you didn't do this. It's like, bro, I've always done this, like, sparingly. So shut up, all right? You guys are annoying. Listen, people are too vocal lately about me. It's pissing me off, okay? Shut the fuck up. Your criticism is not wanted. Just kidding. I could take the criticism. It's just like, oh my god. You know. Anyway, let's do it.
A name and a story that is almost inspirational to tell. A story about a young homeless woman living out of her car and making it big through YouTube in a way that would both allow her to showcase her art and discuss what was on her mind.
Cool.
At her peak, she was almost a trendsetter and inspired various other art commentary channels. She was set to grow and become one of the largest and most beloved commentators. This was a dream, a reward for a difficult life realized through this channel. But even faster than it was propped up, it was torn down.
Listen, for all the energy that's going on against this person, it better not be some BS. I swear to God, guys. I swear to God, if she farted on like a lion or something, you know what? Like, people get canceled for the most insane things, and it's very annoying. It's very annoying.
With possibly the fastest subscriber loss percentage-wise seen on any YouTube channel. This all began with a conspiracy that she may have been leaking creator secrets through a popular online forum, which was then amplified by serious allegations that she and her significant other had been terrorizing a woman for over 8 years.
Oh, shit.
The quicker it piled on, and the louder the voices grew against her.
You really can only terrorize women for that long if you're a man. If you're a girl terrorizing women, there's something wrong with you. But for men to do it, it's just such completely normal, acceptable behavior.
The matter she became with a past that was never supposed to be known, which was exposed by a community that she helped create and inspire, to show how it unraveled and eventually led her to writing a 112-page document.
Wow.
We will go through the rise and fall of CreepShow art.
Nice. Okay, let's do it. I'm excited, brother.
This video is brought to you by Manscaped.com. The global brand for men's grooming and hygiene products. But as you can see in the back of there on my bed, Manscaped sent me the Performance Package 4.0, which comes with a lot more than I actually expected. Whenever I opened the package, I was like really surprised with the amount of stuff. I mean, not just inside the main package where this little nifty tool came in, but it also came with a nose trimmer and various other grooming tools alongside it. So, you know, that was a nice, pleasant addition to all that. Another like nifty feature is if you hold it 3 times, it doesn't turn on. And the reason it is that is because, let's say you're traveling or what have you, you don't want this going off in your bag. So it has that feature just in case, and to turn it back on, we hit it 3 times. So grab this product and...
That's how I turn my wife on. I am very abusive. Oh my lord. I'm just kidding.
Help support the channel by going to manscaped.com today and get 20% off with free international shipping plus 2 free gifts when you use promo code JUNE at checkout. Link in the description.
Chase your bag, brother.
To begin the story, it would be impossible to start from CreepShow Art's first available video. The reason being is that there are several deleted videos made prior to this one that play a significant role in her channel's development. Luckily for us, a playlist exists containing some of these deleted videos. Looking through these gives us an idea of the content that popularized her channel, which are storytime videos. A familiar format that was popular at the time, with well-known content creators like Tanamojo and Gabby Hanna raking in millions of views per video, talking about personal events in their lives, told from a dramatic...
Storytime, I shit my underwear, and then my wife cleaned them, and then my wife shit in that wore them one day, and then she shit in my underwear. How do you like a story time with that, guys?
...fantasized perspective. The twist, or what made CreepShow Art's videos different, was the narration of the story time was done over footage of her drawing. While this exact style of video, initially titled Sketchbook Storytime, was different from the popular Storytime variants, it had already been done by another channel going by the name of Emily Artful, dating as far as 2 years back. So the genre nor the name was truly unique to CreepShow art. However, that's not to say that the video's contents were not significantly different. Well, at least the context around the surroundings is more telling in CreepShow art's video, as the tables seen in the background seemingly changes color or even texture throughout every story time. While a simple explanation could be that she is using different surfaces around her house, an accurate explanation is that at this point in time, CreepShow art, or Shannon, was homeless. And these tables are either from Starbucks, Taco Bell, or her local library.
Hey, listen, nothing wrong with Taco Bell, except that every fucking time that I go to Taco Bell, they just fuck up my order. Every time without fail. I don't understand, bro. Like, listen, I'm all for people getting paid better wages, but like, I'm all for mistakes. I'm okay with mistakes. Everybody makes them. You know what I mean? But it just feels very personal when every time I go to fucking Taco Bell, you just fuck everything up. Especially since, like, not for nothing, but Taco Bell is just different mixtures of like of fucking, what is it called? It's just different mixtures of like meat, cheese, and a tortilla. It's fucking crazy, dude. Yeah, maybe the people, maybe the cooks are Deaf Noodles fans. Yeah, maybe, brother. I don't know.
All primary areas that allowed a comfortable environment and a place with both Wi-Fi and outlets to charge her devices.
I'd kick you out.
To expand on this process, or the way she'd make these videos, we will need to also go through the way she was making it through life, at least in her words. After dropping out of college and later leaving a job due to a customer assaulting her, her parents pushed her to move out of their house, which then her and her then boyfriend made the pre-planned decision to leave their hometown of San Jose for Portland up north. They knew that they would be living out of the cars until they could find some stability through work. This issue became much more apparent when they realized that they just exchanged one city with a high cost of living to another of a similar status. It should be noted—
where are they getting the money? If they're homeless, where are they getting the money to move? And why do they keep moving to high cost areas? Like, if I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, if you're gonna move and if you don't have a lot of money and you have the ability to move, why would you move to a high cost area? Is this gonna lead up to them like faking the fact that they were homeless or whatever? Because like, it just doesn't add up to me.
That jobs were a bit harder to get as they are now, especially in Oregon, that allows employers to deny applicants based on their credit history. And being that Shannon had debt and terrible—
what the fuck? Wait, this is the most illuminating thing. Why the fuck would you even— that should be fucking illegal. What? You're telling me people who are having trouble, like they're having credit trouble for whatever reason. You're telling me that it makes sense to you to deny them the ability to get a job to pay their debt? I'm fucking mind boggled. They were voluntarily homeless? What the fuck? I guess that's the way to live.
Credit history, these jobs did not come easy. Even trying to get them was quite expensive, as some charged application fees of around $50.
Really? That's fucking
insane. So you would need to get a job to apply to other half-decent jobs. And whenever you got rejected from an application, not only did you lose your time, but you also lost what little money you had. With the worst of this coming when on a single day, she was rejected from 4 jobs, which, as she claims, she paid for all 4 applications, meaning she lost around $200 in one day through this, at a point where money did not come easy. Because some aspects with being homeless are significantly more expensive than actually having a home. Food came from
You heard— it sounds like a lot of speculation. You heard that they were living out of their car for the romanticization. Why can't I say words anymore? They were doing it to romanticize themselves for their art. Okay, interesting.
Prepackaged meals from Walmart or inexpensive fast food restaurants like Taco Bell. Water came from bottled water or free cups of water supplied by places like Starbucks. Optimally, you'd have a fridge or pantry that could store cheaper or bulkier foods, but that isn't always an option when living out of a car. For hygiene, she took advantage of a gym membership that allowed access to showers. And because gas was, and still is, expensive, it was not feasible to charge her car by leaving it running. That's where a high-end jump starter kit that she got from her job working at a storage facility came in. With some of these kits, you can plug them into an outlet, let it charge, take it back to your car, and charge your car. But they also come with USB ports and outlets within themselves. So through this jump starter kit, not only was she able to charge her car, she was also able to keep her phone and laptop charged for 3 days straight.
Okay.
With these living arrangements, there weren't many options when it came to how she could record these videos. So to break down the process, she would record herself drawing at one of the aforementioned locations, record the narration through her phone, typically recorded in her car, and then upload it whenever she returned to Starbucks. Considering this, and that it was the earliest form of her current day content, there is no arguing that these videos are very weak. Not so much in the technical side, as she did extremely well with what she had available to her, but rather in the storytelling side, where she could draw out an event where she fell in a gym shower and—
Wait, they were weak? Did he say that they were weak when it came to the storytelling? Or did I fucking hear that wrong? What the fuck? How do you have a weak story? How can you tell a story like poorly when you're homeless, bro? I feel like you gotta have tons of stories, you know what I mean? Romanticize. Could I seriously not say the word romanticize? What the fuck is wrong with me, bro? Dude, I'm getting, like, something's wrong with me. I'm getting worse. Every day I'm just becoming just more fucking brain dead. Holy shit. I'm ashamed of my goddamn self.
expose herself to a stranger into an 18-minute long video repeating and prolonging events, framing it in a very negative or embarrassing way.
Okay. So
as for the storytelling, she was a novice in the field, and it's hardly an easy thing to tell or know how to format a story to strangers, which is why her videos are littered with constant pauses shared with the dead air that came with it. Something else mostly unique to her content is the way she opened these videos usually had a heavy inflection on I. Or her unique phrases like human.
Stop doing that, bro, because I say so a lot. So. You know what I mean? Holy moly.
Person. As her content progressed, some of these aspects improved, but others never changed. Maybe her lack of speaking in a formal manner and accepting these quirks made her even more relatable to her viewers that constantly reflected that sentiment in her comment section. A comment section that would often also discuss her drawing process.
Okay.
As for the framing of these situations, sifting through several videos can give us an idea of how Shannon perceives the world, as we learn she is a stubborn asshole, as that is exactly what she calls herself.
I am the most stubborn person in the fucking world.
We also learned that she wasn't the most popular person in school, as that was a focal point for many of her early storytime videos that also went in depth with how she was bullied and mentions of getting into fights. It could have been this, alongside other negative events that took place in her life that made her an outwardly neurotic person. As she also says that she is a lazy glutton that loves attention and hates being around people.
I am a lazy glutton who loves attention but hates
Sounds like a thickie if you ask me.
She also considers herself as not a good person. But this could also be the spice that allowed her videos to excel, as negative stories are typically more impactful than positive ones.
Okay.
But a big aspect about storytime videos is that they usually only perform well when the story is extremely absurd or it is being told by an established figure. Neither of those fit CreepShow's videos, and a big part of starting a channel is having that initial audience to watch your videos to help them get into the algorithm. Which is where PewDiePie comes in, but not in the way you would expect. You see, CreepShow Art, during the time she was creating these story times, also did a quick fan art of PewDiePie and posted it on her Instagram.
Very quiet.
That's when Suki, PewDiePie's wife's clothing brand, took note of the fan art and reposted it to their page, crediting CreepShow Art in the post. This gave CreepShow's Instagram a boost in followers, which is when she took the opportunity to shout out her YouTube channel.
I gotta start making art. I'm gonna start making drawing pictures for other content creators so that I can make get my channel out there. Who should I draw a picture of? That's a good question. I'll have to think about that.
For all her new followers to see, which gave her well over 100 subscribers. Now with this initial viewer base, growth was going to be much easier, especially combined with her constantly watching her own videos on repeat to possibly get them pushed more into the algorithm. And this eventually paid off with a different type of storytime video titled Tumblr Hates Artists. She starts the story with her ties with Tumblr, stating that beyond running a...
But you know that her ties with Tumblr was like porn. That's everybody's ties with Tumblr. And now that the porn's gone, nobody cares anymore. You know what I'm saying, dude? And you know that I'm right. And you know that maybe it sounds like a hot take, but it's just the truth, bro. It's the objective truth.
Page that had 2,000 followers centered around the Jonas Brothers. She also had her own page that was much less popular where she posted her art. She goes on to say that her art was constantly ridiculed by SJWs and snowflakes, as she describes them. To her, this was a sort of gatekeeping that was happening, as when she would post her art on there, these people would flood the comments, attacking her art by saying she was trying to capitalize on the LGBT community, or when she drew a person of color, they would criticize her on being white and trying to capitalize on drawing a race that she didn't understand because...
Isn't that crazy though? Listen, I don't know the specifics, so I can't speak too much, but it's an interesting thing. It's an interesting balance between this kid gonna pull because he's standing in the best spot. Between like trying to be inclusive versus like, you know, the gatekeeping of some aspects. Like I don't really know how like the ethics would work when it comes to fucking drawing a black character, but if it's out of like an appreciation, like why criticize the person? Because what you're saying is stop drawing black people, stop including black people, stop appreciating black people in some capacity. It feels like the opposite of what you want, you know?
Because it wasn't her own. It didn't take long before this video surpassed 200,000 views, and also encouraged an increase in subscribers, surpassing 1,000 shortly after it was uploaded. Which, according to Shannon, was a very bittersweet moment, because that same day, she was approached by a police officer that requested that she move her car from a business's parking lot. A typical event in her life made more significant now when contrasted with such an achievement. Regardless, the success of this video did more than give her a boost in views or a boost in subs. It gave her a clear pathway to success, as these videos, heavy with conflict, had a significantly better pacing than one of her storytime videos. Maybe the anger or passion to share a story about a well-known site that frustrated her allowed her to speak with an interest that equally captivated her audience.
True.
But there is more to it. Her personal stories at times were just that, personal. But when she discussed a controversial topic or figure in her videos, it made it that much more accessible to an audience hoping to learn more about any which situation. This is commentary, and there is no shortage of channels in this genre.
Is that her drawings? Wow, incredible. I can't believe she got big for doing art. But okay. I could do art just as good as that, I think, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm overselling myself. Who knows?
With many channels taking inspiration from one another. A large inspiration for her was the then not banned Leafy Is Here, who gained millions of subscribers and dollars alike through talking about various events and videos that inspired many clones that tried to do the same thing. The grander difference is that CreepShow art attracted a more feminine audience that was in between the audience of a commentary channel like Leafy and a tea channel, which is a genre on YouTube where it's taking a bit more of an emotional and biased approach.
Wow,
these channels, at least current day, are looked upon with a bit of...
Wait, what am I considered? Am I a commentary channel, tea channel, drama channel, social, political channel? What the fuck am I? What the fuck am I, guys? Who knows?
Disdain from creators in the commentary community, as many of them have been called out for their lack of research by talking about controversies at face value.
True.
Regardless, it didn't take long for there to be another significant change
that's
in
not
content.
Still happening, huh?
Now, instead of a bird's eye view of her drawing on a table, the footage was now of art being created digitally from what seems to be an iPad, which would grow to be a staple of her and many other channels. This can be seen as an investment towards her content, and a goal to improve. But in her personal life, she had another goal that would change her life entirely. And to do this, alongside YouTube and her current job, she had to get another job. But once achieved, with the various sources of income, her and her boyfriend were finally able to afford an apartment in what seems to be less than a year since she began uploading her commentary videos. Which, as some creators typically maintain a schedule, her uploads could be described as sporadic, sometimes uploading twice a week, or several times back to back. So her upload schedule may purely be determined by her motivation and what drama was popular at the time. But even more inconsistent were the amount of views her videos were getting. Some got 12,000, then 40,000, then 200,000, then 20,000 again.
Hey, that's just life.
Though it's not very strong, it does again solidify two things. Her viewers had very little interest in her how-to videos or other experimental content like this animation that performed poorly, at least when put alongside her other videos. The other thing this inconsistency shows us is that she was able to bring many new viewers that would later turn into subscribers around this time, as typically even your worst performing video is able to hit a minimum threshold, or at least your views would be able to see a more of a static average that could normalize the amount of views that you were getting. But the variety of dramas and topics she talked about hit various different parts of the algorithm, bringing in new subscribers that may have followed her for many different topics. Though this is bad if you want consistency and stability in your channel, multiple lures cast in different ponds meant that she was catching different viewers from different genres, and because so many new people were introduced to her this way, her channel grew faster than your typical channel would. So about a year since she uploaded her sketchbook storytime videos, she was already at 76,000 subscribers. And 9 months later, by the end of 2019, she about doubled that at 150,000. Setting this year as one where she successfully integrated into the YouTube environment and took on many common activities in that field like having sponsorships and having both positive and negative interactions with other channels. Interactions like disapproving of channels that were usually in a negative spotlight at the time she made her video, or collaborating with channels on and off her channel. There was also a little bit of giving back to the community. Initially this was done by Creep of the Week, a segment where at the end of the video, she showcased a selected artist's creations mainly seen in videos.
I thought it was going to be negative Creep of the Week, okay.
In 2018. But in 2019, this was taken to a whole new level that could equally benefit her and other artists.
Gas. Would you ever start showing people's fan art at the end of your videos? Oh, bitch, now I'm using their speed paints in their videos, so ha-cha-cha-cha. You want to see your speed paint in one of my videos, or your any video you want to play under my fucking voice, send me an email at creepshowvideos@gmail.com.
Instead of her doing the art in her videos, sometimes she'd have fans send her footage of their digital speed paints and have that used as the base of many videos.
A cool idea.
So she was able to streamline her content more by not needing to draw, and in exchange these artists would get some exposure. Some may view this as lazy, but some may
not at all. I think that's a great way. That's a great way to do low effort content while also giving back to your community. That's just mutually beneficial. That's some smart shit. That's all that really is. Okay, good for her.
This as efficient. Still, not all her content was improving, at least in the traditional sense, as her audio was getting noticeably worse, which is strange enough because this was after she was investing money into a microphone. Specifically the blue snowball microphone as seen per her video's description. Maybe it was that she just wasn't close enough to the microphone itself. While one could argue that she didn't care about the audio quality and the microphone was more convenient than using her phone to record audio, then why would she later invest hundreds of dollars into a Rode Procaster where even then the audio quality is poor? And it
didn't really benefit anyone, and she was able to pump out as much content as possible, no effort at all. She even got an editor to do that and nothing. Yeah, so what? Like, the attempt... What the fuck's happening with my mind? The attempt is there to do a positive thing. If it's not working, then I guess that is what it is. That's just the audience. I mean, what the fuck do I do? You know what I mean? Like, it's... like specifically on that point, you cannot like her or dislike her for that and like me at the same time. Because what do I do? She didn't give out as much of a shout-out? Is that what it is? She didn't, but she put it in there? Did she put it in the video? I feel like with the link to who it was, I feel like that's what you'd need to do, right? That's pretty much all you need to do is put that in the video. Yeah, right?
Actually, when she was homeless, recording on an iPhone in her car, that audio sounds leagues better than practically any of the videos on her channel.
Hey assholes, it's Shannon. What Trisha did back then was kind of everything. Come to me and ask me, a YouTuber, to insert myself.
But if anything, this drop in quality just shows how unimportant it was. It does not matter what footage she was using, or how her audio quality was degrading. It matters that her storytelling and pacing of these commentaries, dramas, or beefs that she was intertwined with.
Like, not for nothing, but I know a lot of people, what they do is they'll go and they'll fucking do the most that they possibly can to, like, they'll think that they have to go and get like a pro streamer setup or a pro this setup or a pro that setup right off the bat, and they think that that's going to help their content, and honestly it just doesn't. Like, Nobody, like, obviously, if you have a really nice setup, you'll get more views, of course, than not having a nice setup. But if you are not interesting, you will get no views. Like, there's no, like, not for nothing, but if you aren't able to, like, blow up a little bit or get it going with, like, a relatively shit setup, then you probably just aren't gonna get, you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. It's not a big deal. But, like, I remember when I started on TikTok, I had a fucking, like a Galaxy, I had like some busted ass Samsung phone. It wasn't until I hit like 1 million followers that I was like, oh, or maybe it was 500,000, I don't remember, that I was like, oh, you know what, I'm gonna get a new phone, up my quality a little bit, you know. So
were getting easier to follow as her channel was growing. So jumping into 2020, after experimenting with various topics, there was a noticeable stabilization of topics and consistency of views as her channel developed into topics that were popular with T channels, where it was popular to discuss figures like Onision, Social Repose, Jeffree Star, Davi Vanity, Shane Dawson, James Charles, Blair White, and many other controversial figures that had overlapping viewer bases. Like other channels that discuss these figures, Shannon was not exempt from getting some key details wrong when researching these stories. There was also a small but growing sentiment in her community displeased at her approaching some of these situations more emotionally than before, where even now the storytelling seemed to go down in quality, specifically in terms of accuracy. Compiling some of these complaints spread across Shannon's videos was Toby, a small channel that had previously made a video critiquing Shannon's video where she talked about content creator Jaclyn Hill's estranged father, who was a public figure in the form of a minister, and poked fun of him while also connecting potential personality traits between the two. The problem came with lines like this.
This is insane to me, and it's even more insane to me that Jaclyn, despite being apparently estranged from him since about 2012, has never mentioned this. She has talked about her and her family and how they used to travel to Africa, and she traveled so much when she was younger, and she's talked about how they went there like 9 times, but never once has she talked about doing it because her father convinced a group of people in Africa that he was God and could cure them of any disease like AIDS. She never said that, ever. And I wonder why. I wonder if it's like, oh, that man probably taught you to lie.
Shannon criticizing Jaclyn for never bringing up her estranged father when talking about her life had many criticizing Shannon for not fully grasping what it meant to be estranged. Toby's video titled, My Issue with CreepShow Art's Jaclyn Hill video Don't Hate Me Uwu, released on March 22, 2020, dissecting this point and many other smaller ones in Shannon's video. And it performed well. So a little over 2 months later, Toby released another video on June 9th, 2020, titled The Faults of CreepShow Art. Many of the points discussed in this video are mostly based on Shannon not fully and/or improperly researching her topics, along with the way she handled some controversial aspects of them. As Toby claims, this was done not purely to showcase Shannon's weak points, but rather to bring notice to a pattern that could be soon plaguing her content, not unlike what many T channels are known for. We'll quickly skim through these criticisms by breaking them down to 5 points, 4 of which are focused on videos. Number 1. Shannon previously covered and announced an artist who was known for drawing sexual imagery of minors, but in order to get support to flag the content, Shannon linked the artist's post in her description, which even though her intention was to direct viewers to flag it, no matter the intention, she was still linking that content in her description, which some saw as immoral.
People will bitch about the dumbest shit. If somebody, so wait, let me get this straight. They were trying to call out like inappropriate content, but since they linked the content and said, hey, this shouldn't be on here, people got mad at that person. Bro, that's fucking so dumb. Oh my god. Like, you literally cannot win at that point. You literally cannot win at that point. People will bitch about the most fucking like pedantic shit, bro.
Number 2. During a situation where 2 well-known drag queens shared what they presumed to be real sex messages that implicated a content creator that Shannon was in favor of, Shannon covered this situation. But instead of sexting messages, she grossly misspoke and said that there were also nudes of a minor involved, which there wasn't. When called out on Twitter directly, she did.
Bro, I swear to Christ, man, like, these people, like, you just don't talk about sexual assault shit. Like, it's just fucking Christ. People love sensationalizing a story. I mean, it's incredible, honestly. It just blows the shit through my ass that the way that people talk about this kind of stuff. It's so fucking inappropriate. they'll just talk about like sexual assault, or they'll talk about like predatory shit through this weird drama lens, and it's always the worst. It really is.
Denied that she said such a thing, only to have her saying that exact thing thrown back at her. Number 3. Jaclyn Hill, which we already discussed. So number 4. Mislabeling a previous anti-vaxxer that she was having a feud with as a current anti-vax defender. And finally, number 5 was Toby worrying that this could become a pattern and that Shannon needs to not change for the worst and do her best to research her topics.
Her content and how she behaves and reacts to people online has increasingly gotten more defensive, more childish, more petty, and significantly more emotionally driven without any control over what she says or what she does. And it's extremely negligent, and it's not okay. Every single comment you don't like, you don't need to respond. You need to learn when to leave things alone and when things need to be addressed. You have a very impressionable audience, Shannon. And
not even that, but sometimes you just need to, like, listen, I don't know the specifics, but sometimes you just need to not respond to comments because, bro, man, some people are just not really interested in engaging in dialogue or having a conversation in the right way, especially when it comes to my content. They're really just mostly interested in, like, using my fucking platform in the comments as, like, a fucking therapy session. You know, like, every other day, like, I'll get people that say, Papa Gut, your content's too woke. And the next day they'll say, Papa Gut, your content's not woke enough. Like, it doesn't really matter what content I make. I've always consistently made the same content, but people will just bitch about fucking everything. Oh, Papa Gut, why do you talk about, like, political issues? Oh, Papa Gut, why don't you talk about political issues? Oh, why? What happened? Why are you just why are you making jokes in this video? Why are you making fun jokes in this video? I don't like this type of content from you. I like the other content. It's like, oh my gosh, shut the fuck up. And then literally I'll say, like, hey, you can stop by the stream anytime you want. And you could just, like, come in the comments. You could just, like, express yourself, or you can come in. Like, I'll even talk to you on Discord. Because it's not worth having a fucking, like, chat-a-thon with people who just don't give a shit. Like, they don't fucking care about any of the issues they talk about. They just bitch about them, and they fucking moan about them. They think, oh, you don't know this. And it's like, oh my god. Some people are just so fucking dumb and dishonest. It's just so insane how fucking stupid some people are. And then I'm expected to sit down in the in the comments and have, like, this fucking long and nuanced conversation. Absolutely not. It's a waste of my time, bro. Because, like, when I'm not streaming or I'm not doing content, like, I don't want to be doing content all day. It's such a toxic thing to do. Like, I want to be able to take a break, hang on my wife, and do, like, regular shit. And these people, like, just come into the thing, you dumb fucks, and then they'll stop responding to that. But I won't call them dumb fucks. They are dumb, but I don't call them that. It's like, hey, just, like, come into the stream. You could do, oh, no, I don't want to do that. Well, okay, so then what does it really mean to you? You don't really care then. Like, it's not even hard to stop by the stream. Like, it's not, like, a difficult thing. You can just go on Twitch. It takes you, like, 2 seconds. And you can say, hey, Papa God, I disagree with this. This way I can actually vocalize rather than go through, like, a comment war. Because it's not worth it, bro.
What you say and how you react to things does matter. You also need to start scripting your videos and take more time for them to come out, not just popping one out every other day.
A day later, Shannon...
Some of these are just dumb criticisms. Like, that's, like, yeah, do more research on the topic is a good criticism. But, like, oh, take more time to script your shit. That's a childish fucking criticism, bro. That's a childish-ass criticism. Shut up. Like, if they're doing well on their content and it's non-scripted, like, good for them. Why do they need to, like, sit down and script? Not for them. Not everybody's good at scripting, and not everybody's good, like, ad-libbing. Like, I've seen some people, they do scripts, but that doesn't mean that they could sit down and start doing reactions to content, like, right off the jump, we'll say. You know, it's like fine. It's just like, oh my god, like, what does it matter? You know, like, when I, like, why does it, these things are just, like, so, sometimes these arguments are just so dumb to me.
Responded to Toby's video with her own video titled Acknowledging My Faults, which received mixed reactions from her audience. While Shannon accepts that she made a mistake when linking her viewers to sexualized art of minors, even though the intention in doing so was to have it reported, she also...
See, I wouldn't fucking apologize for that. Bro, are you kidding me, you stupid assholes? It's, bro, it just, like, listen, and I'm sure it gets worse, but, like, we are where we are right now. That shit's so obnoxious. Could you imagine, like, you're, like, trying to do the right thing by, like, hey, this signal boosting, like a platform that's doing, like, really inappropriate art, and people are like, you're just showing it more. It's like, okay, then don't do anything ever. Like, you can never advocate for anything because it's just showing a thing. Like, you can't try to call out like pedophiles because then more people are just gonna see it or something. You know what I mean? Like, oh, this person is using their platform to talk to kids. Oh well, if I shout that out, then it'll just make it easier for them to utilize it. It's like, oh my god. What's the victory here? What's the victory?
Also accepts and agrees that she's going to do better when it came to the misinformation she was spreading about those two drag queens that only shared sex and not nudes about an alleged minor. She also shared a similar reaction with the Jacqueline video.
An alleged minor? Don't you think it's really important that that minor is not alleged? Like, not for nothing, I'm not trying to be that guy, but I totally am. Like, was it actually a minor, or were people sensationalizing that story in general? You know what I'm saying? What, dude, this thing's kicking my ass. I didn't even realize what level it was. But you know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck? Like, was it actually a minor? Just saying.
But also defended herself on points that were not even argued. Regardless, she removed 3 out of the 4 videos where these issues arose from.
Nice.
Though a bigger issue with this video was a misinterpretation, or how some viewers saw it as deflecting on point 5, where Toby says she doesn't want to see Shannon change and become lazy with her content or become more emotional with it in a way that forgoes research and welcomes misinformation and angry responses to those that she disagrees with. But Shannon took this criticism a different way.
However, I do not want to go back to the person I was when I made those videos, because I was having panic attacks every night in my car, hurting myself, and there's so much more that I'm
just so used to people like talking about this kind of shit in like a not like a disingenuous way, so like I'm fucking numb to it. So sorry for laughing. I'm sure she's being genuine. I don't know. But just people do this shit all the fucking time. It's so annoying.
I can't go back to that person. And I just wanted to say that right now, because in this video, which isn't wrong, by the way, I'm not trying to do anything. Like, in this video, there are a couple of times where Toby says that they liked how I used to be, and they liked the older content that I made, and that I should go back to doing that. And the issue is that I don't like it. And I just want to say that now, that I'm not going to be going back to that, because I'm not that same person.
When Toby said that she didn't
That's a totally valid thing to say. I don't understand what's the problem.
Want to see her change, Shannon understood this as a request to revert to the person she was the year prior.
That's not exactly the way I interpreted it. What she just said was more like, hey, I made that content at the time was a reflection of who I was at the time. I didn't like who I was at the time, so I'd rather not make that content. That's how I interpreted it. I feel like people are I don't know. I feel like people are intentionally misinterpreting that. Maybe I'm wrong. But that's what I got out of there. Like, I understand the association with content and your state of mind at a particular time. Like, I get it. So, okay.
Where she says she was in a much worse place and is not willing to become that person again. Though the criticisms were targeting her getting lazier in the researching process and not truly how she changed in her personal life. This was something that was echoed through the comment section of her video, and it wouldn't be the last time Shannon was accused of what some would consider to be deflection. But unlike this drama, the next one was extremely convoluted, because as it progressed, more and more creators got involved, creating their own dramas that were separate entities that could be tied to a point of origin to this main one surrounding Toby, which is the person that made the Faults of CreepShow video. Toby now was being criticized for liking Shane Dawson along with other media points.
God.
Then other content creators jumped in to criticize
Bro, there's another... Who got credit? Wait, what happened?
Shane Dawson, the Faults of CreepShow video. Toby now was being criticized for liking Shane Dawson along with other media points.
That is a fucking menial point, bro. Listen, like Shane Dawson, I don't like Shane Dawson, but like, I understand his content was like really edgy and shitty, but at the same time, you know, like it was some internet bullshit, and the same people who were watching Shane Dawson's content are the people who are criticizing it now. Like, now that it's not and like he stopped doing the content too. It's not even like he still did it. And it's also like something to bring up. People don't like talk about it, but like that video that D'Angelo Wallace made, like that was because he was trying to defend James Charles, and the second James Charles, it came out that what Shane accused him of was true. All of a sudden, those videos get popped down. Like, the intention is 100% fucking relevant. Like, you don't do that if you really hold true to that point. Like, it feels like an intentional misrepresentation to try to deplatform him. Just saying, brother. It's just fucking stupid. Everybody melts down. It's like, that was such a terrible thing. It's like, bro, you don't really know what fucking terrible things are, dude. You're living in your own drama sphere. You got nothing better to do. Like, grow up, bro. It's really not that deep. It was like shitty, edgy content that he shouldn't be doing. And guess what? He wasn't doing it anymore. So I guess, you know, we won. We won, guys.
Then other content creators jumped in to criticize those criticizing Toby, creating another layer. And another layer after this one, and many more that I possibly didn't account for. But to keep the story simple and easier to follow, we'll focus on the layer surrounding Shannon, or CreepShow art. Or at least how she was roped into all of this. And that starts from content creator Prison Make Luke, who was in opposition of Toby, and other content creators joining the fray, like Hopeless Peaches. a content creator that was also in the art community that had taken opposition to CreepShow art in the past, and also had some points in defense of Toby.
Yeah, there's a colorblind mode. It's a UI mode, though. I don't know if it does what it does. But yeah, you can fuck with that.
So out of this 23-minute video, Prison Make Luke, released on November 6, 2020, the most impactful part, at least now, was a about 2-minute long section talking about Hopeless Peaches. Here is that section.
The person who commented was Hopeless Peaches, who also decided to put herself into the drama despite constantly saying how she doesn't want to be in it, and would just never leave it alone. And when people like Thummin called her out for her terrible and biased behavior, she made a community post about how she wasn't friends with Toby, which I didn't actually know she wasn't friends with Toby, because she did everything in her power to defend her, and vilified Omnia so much that I thought she was. Because
I mean, you could defend somebody without being friends with them, just so you know.
why go through all that hassle for someone you apparently don't even care about? Well, you say how you're going to be taking a break from the drama and comments and all that, which is fine. If you need a break, you need one. I'm not saying you don't have mental health problems, but you would constantly come back to post more things and beg for sympathy. And when you were getting genuine criticism for all the garbage you've done, you decided to suicide bait your audience, going off the grid for hours to make your audience worry that you hurt or killed yourself. And guess what? 2 days later, you were back.
Well, did they... Sorry, it's my last year. I think I'm done. Oh, okay, yeah, that's suicide baiting. Yeah, some fucking childish ass shit.
To making tweets again, and she's been doing this for a long time. It's very manipulative, and she's always using her mental health as a pity me card, which is funny since she called out Toby for doing the same thing. It's very scummy, and it says a lot about her as a person. Like, how little do you have to care about your audience to do that to them? And when you don't want to deal with the criticism, you say your mental health is acting up again, and how you're going to get away from social media, but when it goes away, you come right back to it. It's scummy, and your audience deserves better.
While it wasn't initially noticed by a large portion of viewers, this section had a severe accusation against Hopeless Peaches, which also dangerously assumed the intent with a very controversial topic. Luke assumed the intent that Hopeless Peaches jumped into this drama, but was unable to take the backlash and faked her feelings about ending her life. Or at least had some evidence of that, as Peaches jumped back to tweeting soon after she posted that goodbye tweet, which worried her fans and is something that she later apologized for. Regardless, what Luke failed to consider is that this drama and her mental health issues were two events that were not intertwined, and that Peaches, according to her and her friends, the night of that tweet was very close to ending her life.
Listen, like, not for nothing. If you get engaged in internet drama, especially like some bullshit, and it makes you feel like you want to end your life, then like you shouldn't be on the internet. Like, you clearly can't handle shit. Don't engage in the drama. Or like fucking don't go on the internet, because a lot of times people will sympathy bait, and this is one of the biggest fucking problems, is that when it comes to some form of a mental health issue, there's no way to distinguish whether somebody is or isn't sympathy baiting. Like, it sounds like they were, based on what was the context that they said, that the individual like said, "Oh, this is my last post for now," and then like came right back, like, okay, that's like, and they said goodbye, like they were sympathy baiting. I don't know what to tell you. Her friends might have said that she was like being genuine, because maybe she did the same thing with her friends. Like, what a hot take. You think that doesn't happen? You know what I mean? But it's one of those things that's like, you can't really know. Like, how the fuck do you really know if somebody has like a mental health problem, or if somebody's really going to kill themselves, other than what they say? It's not like you can do a test. Like, what test can we? There's no test you can perform. You know what I'm saying? So you're just kind of left to take their word for it. But if this is something that you're doing consistently, or if you make a claim that you're going to do whatever, and then you come right back and say, "Hey guys, I'm farted," you know, then it's, how valid could that possibly be? You know? Which
was something Luke did not know, but now it was too late. Out of all the points he made in this video and videos prior, this is the one that would now stand out the most. This is when Peaches took to her community section on YouTube.
I'm telling you right now, the only reason that it's probably held off, I'm guaranteeing I'm right here, is that he apologized. He was like, "Oh, I'm sorry." Like, that's all you... Bro, you sometimes just have to stand your fucking ground. It's like, it doesn't make any sense, and you gotta hold to it. There's gonna be woke fuckers that are doing whatever the fuck they want to do every single day, and you know what? They're not the majority of the representation of people. Most of the time, they're like an outlier, but you think that they aren't, because they don't shut the fuck up, and they're like the loudest minority. So sometimes you just gotta be like, "Yeah, bro, that's what it comes off, exactly what it comes off as." What am I doing here?
To address these accusations, and also to Twitter, where she DM'd Luke directly. And because this situation was becoming a larger problem due to Luke's initial video talking about Peaches, he made another one, this time with the focus being only on Peaches. In this video, he covered a variety of things Peaches had done, like subtweet CreepShow art and softblock her, along with other unfavorable things to someone she used to be friends with. And that is how CreepShow was dragged into all this. To provide some more context behind the history of CreepShow and Peaches, Peaches was a fan of CreepShow when she was first starting out. And when they came into contact through Twitter DMs, CreepShow helped Peaches in many ways.
What happened to Lost Ark? Just wasn't feeling it, man. The people I was playing with, like, I wasn't really feeling like. I think that it's more of like a community thing. So I'm playing with like a buddy now, and it's like a little more fun. Not like actively playing with him, but like in general. There's like some people are just fucking like shitty and toxic, and they're not fun to play with. You know what I'm saying?
Like giving her a video slot on CreepShow's channel to promote her own. But shortly after, they had a falling out due to Peaches subtweeting CreepShow, soft-blocking her, and privately DMing her about a video she did not like of hers, which then soured their relationship. But this was never extremely public, at least not in the level it was going to be, as both CreepShow and another large content creator who had a falling out with Peaches both commented on this video. And so a pseudo-alliance was formed in opposition to Peaches. More just 5 days after Luke's first video directly aimed at Peaches, CreepShow released hers titled Hopeless Peaches Needs to Stop, released on December 7, 2020. This video eventually got nearly 1 million views, and with other videos coming out against Peaches, this no doubt affected the like-to-dislike ratio of Peaches' response that was posted the following day. A response that Peaches herself, after evaluating it, found it to be flawed, which is why she deleted the video. This causing almost no initial backlash towards CreepShow. But this, alongside other events, were creating divides in the community. These divides are not something to fear if you're a respected or influential member within the community. But if you're not, or at least made many enemies that fear speaking out against you, it can be quite dangerous to misstep or create any opening that will allow these creators to pull the rug from under you. And if they're trying to, ultimately you want to get in front of
Wait, were you saying this drama is so long convoluted it's pretty much irrelevant to the bigger story? Okay. Well, you know, we're having fun on the ride.
The controversy and address whatever arguments they have against you before they do. And that can be in part attributed to audience retention or level of investment in time that the audience needs or is willing to put in to understand a situation. We can apply this to a 38-page document that was created in defense of Hopeless Peaches that Shannon responded to on February 3rd, 2021. The first 19 pages address Luke and his 3 major videos mentioning Peaches. The following 15 pages are about Shannon and her videos against Peaches, and the last 3 bring up another creator involved in the mix known as Camila Cuevas, along with a conclusion to the document.
I would not have been able to pronounce
Reading this document, while every now and then returning to some material referenced in the document, took about 2 hours. So any which person may be faster or slower when going through this document. But if you're looking to read this document and also watch all the content mentioned within it that was directly involving Peaches, that will tack on another 3 hours, not counting the videos made after the release of this document or any other videos surrounding Toby's controversies. That is around a 5-hour time investment that is streamlined to focus on Hopeless Peaches. And the more time it takes, the more likely a key piece of information will be missed due to human error. That's also a lot to ask for not just the viewer, but the many content creators covering this situation. But even if you did understand it well, there are many pieces of the puzzle missing. There are also inflamed biases on both sides. CreepShow and Luke's video against Peaches runs with a false narrative that Peaches is a liar and backstabber amongst other things. As for the document, it was made by other content creators with the intention to give a fairer look into Peaches' perspective. But due to its nature, it also has many biases. But it is still more fair than the side of CreepShow's. And a massive part about both sides is that there are many areas that can be seen as miscommunication, and also both sides lack many screenshots for their claims. But this is again mostly on CreepShow's side. Another issue is both sides make extreme accusations or apply labels to each other that fails to consider the other's intent, with again the majority of these accusations coming from Shannon herself misconstruing or extending the truth and reframing events much more often than others. The grander difference is that Peaches' side of the story, or at least the document, acknowledges many of her faults and wrongdoings when handling the situation. But really most of these extreme accusations leveled at one another do not matter, except for one. And that was Luke's accusation that Peaches was sympathy baiting when she was talking about ending her life. And at this point, it should be made clear that in no place and in no form, at least not made public, Shannon has defended this part of Luke's argument, and that many other content creators not relevant to this video have done arguably worse things to Peaches. But CreepShow is typically remembered as the worst due to her much larger following. And about 10 months ago, since the release of this video, Luke himself has left a comment apologizing for these claims. But because Luke and Shannon were in a sort of alliance against Peach.
What made them apologize for the claims, other than they said that I wasn't sympathy baiting? Like I said, like that looked like they were sympathy baiting. So, I mean, like not for nothing. Let's say that they were actually suicidal. They're posting for attention. Like even if they are genuinely and truly suicidal, they were just posting it for the attention of the matter. They're like, okay, I'm suicidal. I'm gonna go on Twitter. I'm gonna post about it. Like, what? That's not my first thing to do. Wouldn't be going on fucking Twitter. So, like, you're looking for sympathy. When you tell somebody you're gonna kill yourself, even if you mean it, you're looking for sympathy. Like, you're looking for somebody to go, don't do it. You know, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay.
These claims of sympathy baiting are, for some, also Shannon's responsibility to denounce because she didn't acknowledge it and refute it. But then again, she did not reinforce it.
Oh, so just everybody was against that guy, so he just felt the need to fucking apologize on principle? Okay, that makes sense, yeah. You got bullied into an apology? Shit, brother, I wouldn't give a fuck.
Step in front of the document with this video, and it worked, as this video was initially well received with 10,000 likes and 104 dislikes.
Alright, let me go pee really quick. I just gotta go take a wee-wee. Uno momento, por favor. Yeah. Oh, you don't get it, I'm just quirky. Go. Oh. It's a quarter after 1. I am a little drunk and I need you now. Cheers being racist again? Shit, brother, I can't do nothing about it. Okay. Okay, let's get back into this fucking shit.
But that was mostly from her core audience that will support her through most scenarios. Once Peaches released her video adding more information to the situation, showing how negatively CreepShow and others framed her, along with other videos coming out against CreepShow around a month-long window, and it reaching viewers that were not part of her core audience, meant that the dislikes began to pile on, and the like-to-dislike ratio lowered to 84%.
Ratio, bitch.
But this was about the peak of CreepShow's hatred, and beyond other small dramas she was involved in, like a situation involving another
Sounds more like she's just really bad at responding to drama. And that was what really where things really started. But You know, we're only at the tip of the iceberg here,
who was feuding with content creator Gabby Hanna. And without any true opposition, there was a large promise of growth, but also a lingering feeling that her content was getting more and more lazy, which is a very dangerous concoction when combined with this growth. Because if you're a smaller channel, your claims hold less weight, not only due to your possible inexperience, but also because your videos are most likely reaching a smaller audience. There is less responsibility to hold if your claims are not widespread. But the inverse was the crisis that CreepShow was facing. There would have to be a massive change in her content and effort to get stories accurate, or the backlash was going to be larger than the Peaches situation or Toby's video highlighting her lack of research. But it wasn't that. There was something larger stewing that opened Pandora's box. A repainting and retelling of Shannon's character through accusations leveled against her. These so egregious that there was a period where they were too serious to be taken as real. But there were too many pieces that fell perfectly into place that now it seems too serious for these accusations to be considered improbable. This is the downfall of Shannon, one that we can not only pinpoint to the month, but also the day, hour, minute, and second.
Wow.
It all deriving from this post on lolcow on June 2nd,
What a fucking anticlimactic name, the downfall of Shannon. What the fuck?
2021 at 7:23 p.m. and 19 seconds. Posted by an administrator of the site that says, quote, "As many users in this thread are aware, Shannon's posts on lolcow haven't exactly been subtle. We've decided to compile their post history after she escalated her behavior by sharing her sister's social media in order to deflect."
I think I know a little bit about this. I think I watched a video. So this CreepShow art person would like pretend to be somebody else on like on the lolcow, and then and then like amp herself up or something just to give her some more attention, some shit like that, right?
From criticism towards herself. Beyond that, she has been anonymously promoting her videos and Patreon/YouTube membership to farmers and making posts about herself to either white knight or insult herself. For many years, we had a policy to reveal post histories of users who go to great lengths to use lolcow.farm to propel their own online presence. You can read the full post history here, unquote. Before we look into the archive of CreepShow's post, we'll quickly go over what lolcow is. Lolcow, like Kiwi Farms, 4chan, and many others, are generally looked down upon websites where users usually post anonymously. These sites typically have a forum format and are split into many threads about different subjects. What lolcow specializes in, like the name suggests, are lolcows, or a public figure that is easy to annoy or harass and readily gives a response to negative attention. Doing so repeatedly is known as milking a lolcow. The definition...
It's kind of unfortunate that nobody talks shit about me. It's actually annoying, bro. Like, it's incredible. Like, I mean, like, listen, I call people out and I call things out because I feel very strongly about the things I call out. But, like, I'd be fine with a response. I wonder why people don't really like respond. Like, I don't really understand, bro. I mean, I guess because I'm just a fucking nobody. I'm a small. I mean, I'm fat as fuck, but I'm a small channel, so I guess that's probably what it is. But you know, just unfortunate, brothers. Just unfortunate. You know what I mean? I'll take the content. I'm always right. Yeah, that's true. I'm always correct. I'm always right, bro. Like, you know, if you disagree with my take, why not just make a video about it? Like, go make a fucking comment. I'll probably react to it, honestly. I don't give a shit. I'll probably react to some video. You know, make a video. You know, people are like, oh, yeah, that's one of those things that's like annoying. It's like, you can go make a video about it. Oh shit, I just got nay-nayed. Fuck. Like, make a video about it. Express your points, and I'll watch it. And then if I'm wrong, I'm fucking wrong. I don't give a shit. I'm not usually mean. I'm usually pretty good. I'm usually pretty sexy. You know? Why not, bro? It's okay if I'll disagree with you, make you feel better. Yeah, thanks, brother. I appreciate that.
Can change and be more vaguely applied to any public figure like CreepShow art. And actually, this admin post can be found on a thread about Shannon herself that she was already allegedly posting on anonymously. This thread, though it is one of many talking about CreepShow art, was only about 8 months old at the time. But Shannon's post history can be traced back to her first archive post dating back to November 30th, 2018. And now for the legitimacy of these posts. As mentioned by the admin, if it is CreepShow, she broke 3 and possibly more rules of the website depending on any which perspective. But we'll focus on the confirmed 3, which are these 3.
Yeah, I remember that was one of the rules, is like you can't like fucking hate farm yourself or whatever.
Number 8, do not attempt to use locale.farm for attention or profit.
That's
Number 9, do not deceptively post about yourself in the third person for any reason. And number 10, do not advertise. Rules 8, 9, and 10 were broken several times by her, but all of them can be pinned on one post where she posts about her own video that is only available for channel members, which means it is locked behind a paywall. It should be both considered for profit.
This is kind of smart though, bro.
Which breaks
I'll just
rules
say it.
8 and 10. And because she's posting about herself in the third person, it also breaks rule 9. The admins also mentioned that Shannon invaded her sister's privacy by sharing a previously unknown social media account, which is a form of doxing. But it is important to keep in mind that this is coming from a website that holds almost nothing but criticisms and often seeks to troll people. But also, in the past, this website has called out other figures successfully for doing the same thing Shannon allegedly was. Shannon's response to this on the community post section of her channel was strange, to say the least. Few lines matter in this wall of text, except this one that mentions 2 key pieces of information. First is that she confirms that her IP address was used to access locale, but it is, according to Shannon, being spoofed by Amy, a name used by her as an alias for an alleged stalker that she has made several videos on. Shannon claims that this Amy person has been terrorizing her for over 10 years. But the locale system admin, however, did not take kindly to this and divulged that it was not just based on her IP, but it was also based on her other devices used. The admins, or rather a singular system admin, may have bridged her identity by seeing her consistency of passwords. Though locale is anonymous, there is an option to input a password to delete your own post, and some of this information is saved locally on Chrome and on your computer. And with this, they can possibly link posts to each other, but still not the person.
So, like, what was the reception to this? Because at the end of the day, like, she fucking broke the rules of some dumb fuck, like, anonymous site. Like, no offense, guys who love that site. You know, you do you. I get it. I look at porn anonymously, but you know what I mean? Like, who gives a shit? You know what I mean? Like, okay, she did the bad thing. Okay. You know what I mean? Like, I take shit. I fucking, you know what I'm saying? Who cares? You know what I mean? Like, what? It's just like this. This would be like if I was, like, super upset if somebody walked into Dave & Buster's and they picked up the skee balls and dropped them directly into the thing. Like, yeah, you're an asshole, but like, who cares?
With 100% accuracy.
I'm gonna keep watching.
Something else that may have allegedly helped is that the IP they have stored moved in relation to where Shannon moved. So they could have also aligned that with her timeline of moving from different areas, like Portland to Vegas. This is to say that it would become increasingly more difficult to spoof her IP, as Shannon's alleged stalker would have had to hack the ISP itself, which is unlikely, or hacked her Wi-Fi, which is also unlikely. Even the most technically proficient stalker would have a difficulty pulling all this off, which makes it that much more believable that it was Shannon. But even if this was dismissed, there is still more evidence that points to Shannon posting these 292 posts on locale. But before we get to that, we'll focus on the community reaction. Initially, or at least for the first day, this archive of posts went unnoticed, with much attention being directed to what Shannon claims to be a hacking of her account. But all these alleged hackers did was change the background and profile picture to an equally harmless one and privated some items.
Okay.
Because of the lack of impact and no hacker coming out to lay claim to this attack.
If this was a hacker, if this was an actual hacker who was like going through like the fucking, like they got their information, they barely did anything when it comes to the hack. They like actually hacked into the IP to make it look like it was her, and they just did these like very innocuous things. That would be like the greatest hacker in the world. Like, oh, I'm gonna hack in there and just change one picture. Nobody's gonna believe that person. They sound insane. Like, no, there's no hacker would do that. That's insane. It's fucking. That would be an impressive hacker. Honestly, fucked up.
Breaking them down to 5
slowly
points,
degrading
4 of
her
which
credibility.
Are focused on videos. Number 1. Shannon previously covered and announced an artist who was known for drawing sexual imagery of minors, But in order to get support to flag the content, Shannon linked the artist's post in her description, which even though her intention was to direct viewers to flag it, no matter the intention, she was still linking that content in her description, which some saw as immoral.
Yeah,
Number 2. During a situation where two well-known drag queens shared what they presumed to be real sex messages that implicated a content creator that Shannon was in favor of, Shannon covered this situation. But instead of sexting messages, she grossly misspoke and said that there were also nudes of a minor involved, which there wasn't. When called out on Twitter directly, she denied that she said such a thing, only to have her saying that exact thing thrown back at her. Number 3. Jaclyn Hill, which we already discussed. So number 4, mislabeling a previous anti-vaxxer that she was having a feud with as a current anti-vax defender. And finally, number 5 was Toby worrying that this could become a pattern and that
that's what was like this shit's like Trump change, like in like the political sphere, like that's like what you would do. You were once an anti-vaxxer? Well, I guess you still are, bitch. And then the people just fucking go ballistic about that shit. These are fucking so minuscule comparatively, man. It's crazy.
Shannon needs to not change for the worst and do her best to research her topics.
Her content and how she behaves and reacts to people online has increasingly gotten more defensive, more childish, more petty, and significantly more emotionally driven without any control over what she says or what she does. And it's extremely negligent and it's not okay.
I'm 20 minutes behind where I was? Wait, what? Oh, fuck. I didn't realize that.
Into hurrying the production.
I thought they recapped. I thought it sounded familiar.
Now, they ended up
and illegal drugs, and was overall a very toxic person.
Okay, let's start here. We'll start at the stalker. Sorry.
No. This is where we get into the most discussed content creator of these locale leaks, who besides Shannon, is the earliest mentioned content creator that Shannon discussed on locale. That really doesn't say much until 6 days after the leak, Emily posted on Twitter claiming that Shannon is dating her ex-boyfriend, and together they have stalked, harassed, and threatened her and her children's lives, alongside using revenge P against her and her previous drug addiction against her as well to get her fired from her job. Emily's proof to this is whenever she traced her stalker's information back to them, it led to an IP where Shannon was located. She also says she has 3 phones and 3 laptops worth of evidence documenting much of this over the course of the last 10 years or so. With these damning claims getting much traction on Twitter, she was pressured into hurrying the production with her video on Shannon. CreepShow has always been this way, is a 2-hour-long video that released just 4 days after that large initial tweet against Shannon.
Hi everyone, I'm Emily. If you're not familiar with who I am, I have been making art content here on YouTube for the past 6 years. For the majority of those 6 years and several years prior, I had been facing stalking, harassment, and threats from one very recognizable source.
There is no doubt that aspects of the video are a bit drawn out and the organization isn't optimal, but this is dismissed as she was detailing a long event that caused her much trauma with the video that was developed in a 4-day window. A large feat that gained an equal amount of traction that rewrites Shannon's story as we know it. And this begins in 2010. Also, for the sake of brevity, we won't go too in-depth with this video, though it is highly encouraged that you view it yourself. To start this timeline, this was before Emily or Shannon had a YouTube channel, as it takes place in 2010. During this time, Emily was abusing both prescription and illegal drugs, and was overall a very toxic person. She was working as a gig musician in San Jose where she met Anthony, and the two had a very toxic relationship.
Alright, so to be clear, Emily is CreepShow art, right? Is that what we're hearing? Large feet, yeah, nice. Emily is CreepShow art, right? Am I wrong about that? Okay, Emily's a different person, and Shannon is Creep. Okay, I just wanted to make sure, because that's what I thought, but then I was like, oh, wait a minute. Okay, so they're talking about somebody different. Okay, gotcha. Dude, there's just so many fucking basic white bitch names in this. I'm sorry. I'm trying my best. Okay.
Emily goes on to describe what kind of person Anthony was back then. As beyond the toxicity of the relationship, Emily claims he would often punch holes in walls, talk about donning black trench coats with...
That's just fucking... This is literally just white culture. I just want you to know. Punching holes in walls, black trench coats, talks about guns, and shooting up schools. White culture, 100%. You know it's true, so, you know.
a friend and paying his old high school a visit with weaponry, and also talks about an event when she was high and immobile. Anthony was over and took advantage of the situation, which means he effectively R-worded her. Then they broke up at a later point.
Wow.
Though for a while, they did have a small fling going back and forth before it was broken off entirely and replaced with a professional relationship for work purposes. A key point is when they broke up, Emily went to Anthony's work to see him, which is also where Shannon worked, a person she really didn't know at the time. So with that, we know that Shannon was now dating Emily's ex. But Emily, being the last and favorable person she was, while Shannon and Anthony were dating, Anthony sent over a track that she was working on to Emily where she ridiculed the woman's vocals that were already on it, convincing Anthony to replace that spot with herself.
Is Shannon's. And I say, man, that girl's voice is weak. It doesn't sound good on the track. My voice would sound so much better. Super catty, super bitchy, and super insecure, immature. There's a million words I could use for what I said about it. So I put Shannon down to raise myself up. And I believe in doing that, that is what set off this chain of events, the stalking, the harassment, the threats. So I made that comment.
After this event, she began getting demeaning messages across her social medias, but also, strangely enough, an increase in Facebook friend requests from strangers.
Volume in them. Something else I noticed kind of retroactively was that I was receiving a lot of Facebook friend requests from people that I didn't know, but I would have like a handful of mutual friends with. So I would, of course, accept these requests. And these were coming from Andrew. Now, they ended up phishing me and locking me out of that original Facebook account.
I think they have to send you like a link that you click on. So I guess she kind of cell phoned herself a little bit. Okay. And this is Emily talk. Okay. All right.
Account. Now, I had that original Facebook account since I was a minor, since Facebook came out. And hidden in the messages of that account were some compromising photographs. Now, most of them were of me as an adult. But unfortunately, there were a few of me as a minor.
Okay.
And I tried to express that to my stalker several times, but they just disregarded it and said that.
This is Emily talking right now, right? Am I wrong about that? I'm trying to keep on track. This is, for some reason, like the names are just fucking like blowing my mind. Okay, so all right, let me get this straight. I want to try to get this straight. Emily dated a guy named Anthony or Andrew, right? They used names interchangeably. And then they broke up because he sexually assaulted her. And then Shannon started dating her. Started dating him, right? Am I right about that? This is just so fucking confusing me right now. I feel like I need to establish this before I move on. That's all I'm trying to do. So that I know. Am I right about that? I'm gonna hope so. I'm getting no response, so.
I was a liar, which was infuriating and deeply upsetting and traumatizing. And what did they do with these photographs? Well, they went ahead and put them into a photo bucket account, as well as some other photographs from a website that I was on. At this point, I was doing some webcamming. Not exactly something that I was doing of my own free will. A lot of that wasn't, but that's not Andrew and Shannon's fault, but they
What does she mean that she wasn't doing it by her own free will? A little confused on that. Like, there's one thing to say that I don't want to have to do it versus saying my own free will. Like, I wonder what's the narrative being built there. I'm a little confused, to be honest with you.
Piled a bunch of photographs, inappropriate photographs of me in this photo bucket account and just taunted me with them. And I didn't really have control of much. I tried to get a regular job, and Andrew and potentially Shannon found out about this regular job and decided to email my job and send them a compromising video of myself. They posed as a client, said, I'm a regular client. You've lost my business because look at your, disgusting human being of a receptionist. Now, I am going to try and get in touch with this job to confirm that they did fire me because they received this email. Looks like they've had a change in business name, but I think that that will be a very important receipt. So I'm really going to try hard to get that. Anytime I had control of my life in any way, they would try desperately to take it away from me.
That's pretty fucked up.
I have tried to turn my emotions off this whole time, but I can't hear. They wanted me destroyed. Any good thing that I could have, they wanted it destroyed. And anytime I saw that light, they would snuff out that light so fucking fast. And that is not even the worst of it. I'm going to compose myself and come back. So after this happened, I went into a really dark downward spiral. There was a lot that was very difficult for me that I had to overcome pretty much completely on my own. But then once I did overcome it, I ended up meeting someone, moving in with them and getting a different job. And again, Andrew and potentially maybe Shannon did everything they could to try to find out where I was working. For some reason, they knew it was at a restaurant, a specific type of restaurant. So they literally, copied exactly one of my friend's Facebook accounts, took the about information, all of their pictures, and made this other Facebook account and acted like, oop, my Facebook got deleted, Emily. Can you add me again?
Oh my
and my
God.
dumbass was like, okay. And so, oh my
Christ.
God, I want to scream at my past self. But I accepted the friend request. And then, of course, they post, hey, does anybody know of any really cool, this specific type of cuisine restaurants in this specific location?
Oh my God.
And at that point, I'm like, you are not my friend. And so I blocked them. I knew right away that they were trying to find out where I worked.
From this point onward, we get into Emily's channel within the timeline, specifically 3 years after its establishment. In reference, this video, my video that you're watching right now, began documenting Shannon in 2015. So at this point in time, in 2018, she was on year 3 of being homeless. And while she created her channel shortly after Emily's channel in 2016, she really began posting in 2018. So that is the year that we're currently at, and also when Emily becomes aware of another art channel known as CreepShow Art, and notices that she also labels her videos as sketchbook storytimes, and wanting to protect the title of her series, she reached out to her.
It wasn't like this much larger channel. I was still quite a small channel. So when I approached her and I sent her a private message, I was perfectly polite. I didn't want to feel like I was coming in.
Wait, okay. All right. Okay. So wait, Emily doesn't know Shannon is CreepShow Art at this point, but Shannon's the one that was basically stalking her. Is that what's going on here? Is that what's happening? This is so fucking deep.
Here and trying to intimidate her to get her to change her series name. Hi Shannon, my name is Emily and I have a channel on YouTube called Emily Artful. It's been brought to my attention that you have a series with the exact
That's very appropriate, thank you, brother.
same name as a series I created 3 years ago called Sketchbook Storytime. I'm going to guess this was most likely 100% by accident or by coincidence, but I put my heart and soul into my series and I'd really, really appreciate if you were able to change the name of your Storytime video.
Okay, wait. So at this time, CreepShow Art has some traction. And some random part, I'm not even addressing the fucked up shit that CreepShow Art did, but I'm gonna look at this a little bit more disconnected. So Emily has a small channel where she used a specific name for her thing. This other girl, or Shannon, Shannon might have stole the name, but whatever. So you have a small creator be like, hey, can you change the name of your entire series? Because, from what she thinks at the time, is that you coincidentally took the name of it. That's an incredibly fucking presumptuous thing to do. That's such a weird thing to do. That's like weirdly like conceited. I'm just saying, like, okay, what a bizarre thing. All right.
Videos. You are completely within your right not to, as it's your channel and you can do with it as you please. But from one artist to another, I hope you'll understand how it can hurt my business. I love your art and it's obvious you're very talented. You've got an incredibly unique style. I've never seen anything like it. I hope you understand my requests and I hope you don't think I'm angry. Things like this happen all the time. I figure it's just a coincidence. Thank you, Emily.
I'd respond saying fuck off.
And Shannon responded, sorry man, I watched Lehman Raptor on YouTube and she has a series titled the same name and she gave me a go-ahead. I'll just label them as story time since that's all it is, but I appreciate you letting me know your concern. Looking into it, there are quite a few accounts using the same name for similar series, kind of like Get Ready For Me for beauty YouTubers almost. I think at the very least you might have started a trend, which is commendable. Sorry I made you uncomfortable in any way, my dude.
That was the first interaction between Emily and CreepShow, who she didn't know was Shannon at the time. On the topic of Emily's channel, in the past, she was getting tweets from Anthony directly, claiming she was buying views on a video that performed well. And at the same time, she was getting the same style of accusations directly from an account called Non-Viral Emily that was established purely to harass her.
Remember, after Anthony was tweeting at me accusing me of buying subscribers, only moments later did a sock puppet account accuse me of the same thing. Nobody else did. Just Anthony and this sock puppet account. And you can see that I was reacting to both of them at very similar times because like I said, I responded to that sock puppet account at 8:59 p.m. and then privately messaged Anthony at 9:30 p.m. on that same day. I just find it oddly suspicious that Anthony just decides out of the blue to go looking for me a week and a half within the first time one of my videos quote unquote blow up because now I'm second individuals are. So I say, why? And then they say, I have prolonged fits of daydreaming at times. Just this really, and I know it may not seem scary to some people, but to me, this is so messed up. I 100% believe that this person was in my city looking for me so that they could kill me of these receipts. So unfortunately, yes, some of this is hearsay, but I also have a shit ton of proof that Andrew and Shannon are behind this. Speaking of which, let's move on to Snapchat. One day I just received a completely random Snapchat photograph of what looked like a specific square in the city that I lived in with some nonsensical text overlaid on top. I don't have the initial Snapchat because I just kind of froze in panic, but I do have the response to that Snapchat. I wrote, "Are you in my city?" And Kilgore Trout is the name that they chose this time. And they said, "Somewhere, I suppose, in its labyrinth." And then you can see I started typing back, "You are fucking insane." Now, I'm sorry for the ableist language I was using here. I was so freaked out. You guys have no idea the level of fear that I had in this moment. I was 100% convinced that this person, Andrew or Shannon or whoever, was in my city and they were going to hurt me. You can see I said, "Answer me. You drove all the way here?" And they said, "I don't have a driver's license yet. My parents drove me here." Horrifying. Fast forward a year again. I had followed CreepShow Art on Instagram. Scrolling through Instagram one day and I notice a drawing that resembles Andrew because Andrew had a very specific look to him. And I was like, oh, who drew this? What a coinky dink. CreepShow Art. I read the caption and it says something about working with, and she tags Andrew. And my fucking heart falls out my ass. What's interesting though is at that point, I didn't accuse Shannon right away. I was actually, if anything, I was concerned about Shannon.
Here, and after a few Snapchats sent back and forth about a cryptic and almost troll-like messages, Emily lets the supposed Anthony know that she is aware he is dating Shannon or CreepShow Art.
it. I want to backtrack a little bit and talk about how I said I had undeniable proof that Andrew was the person stalking me, that he clicked a link and I was able to trace his IP, because this was the first time that I had done that. Now, after the Twitter incident where Andrew accused me of supposedly buying subs, I was very suspicious that my stalker up until that point had been Andrew. So I laid out a trap where I sent one of these profiles a link pretending to be another like separate hater of mine. And on that link, I attached an IP tracker. And because we had mutual friends, I knew exactly where Andrew and Shannon lived. So I sent over the bait, he clicked on the link, and wouldn't you know it, the IP address took me directly to where they were.
How does everybody know how to like fucking fish for IPs? I don't understand it. It's so weird.
Living. What's interesting is back when my Facebook account was hacked, I wasn't aware that Andrew was doing any of this, right? But Facebook had sent me an email basically saying, here is where the unknown login came from. The IP address pointed to the city where Andrew was from and where he resided in at the time. And after everything, I consulted with the lawyer, I went back to the police, I even hired a private investigator for a short time to do some digging.
Jesus.
I, one, ran out of money, and two, was advised by the lawyer not to take this to court, that it would be a lengthy court battle, and it's not like justice will be served, because it's really hard to prove that Shannon and Andrew ran all those sock puppet accounts because there was so many of them. And I fully acknowledge that probably not all of those comments were coming from Andrew and Shannon. But when you've been stalked as long as I have, you can detect your stalker's language to the point where I could start to differentiate the voices between Andrew and Shannon. And what's really interesting is it was definitely Andrew in the beginning. Like, I really think Andrew just roped Shannon into this mean girl obsession with me. Okay. And Shannon kind of became the mastermind over time. I could see the transition from Andrew into Shannon. Now, whereas Andrew was more kind of threatening and domineering, not that Shannon wasn't, not that Shannon didn't love to make vague threats against me. Shannon was more catty and mean girl.
At this point in the timeline, it is believed that some breadcrumbs are laid out for the possibility that Shannon would be outed as Emily's stalker because she made it clear that she knew about Anthony. An example of this is when a Twitter account named BritaFilter contacted Emily claiming that their younger brother, who was now being moved to a facility to receive treatment, was responsible for stalking Emily all these years, and did things such as hack her Facebook and save those illicit pictures. But as these messages continued, they were a bit too specific, along with there being very strange aspects to this story. A strange aspect is that this account claims her brother was 15 at the time these messages were sent in 2018, but Emily's Facebook was phished in 2013, so her brother would have to have been 10 years old and known not only how to phish her Facebook and contact her place of employment to get her fired, her brother would also have to have the same IP as Shannon, along with it changing consistently to where she moved. That's when Emily asked for a video chat or something to link this to a real person, as this was all too specific. But according to Emily, the account never provided such a thing. Besides this account, Shannon also posted on her Instagram story in relation to Emily, possibly in an attempt to separate herself from any future claims. As when receiving requests for her to collaborate with Emily, she both denies the possibility of a collaboration and brings up her stalker that, interestingly enough, mimics what she has been allegedly doing to Emily. Another what is considered to be a breadcrumb is when she made a lengthy video talking about her stalker, Amy.
Shannon's post reads, "The people linking me to Emily Artful's video, I've seen it, and no, it wasn't me," plays Shaggy in background. "I've said multiple times that I won't collaborate with other YouTubers because I don't enjoy the implications people get from it. Even if this isn't what the person is thinking at the time, collaborating with someone is a business move. You gain from that partnership, and I never want to be in a position..."
Is she chalking everything up to just like a collab, like this person desperate for a collaboration? Is that what's happening now? What the fuck?
Where someone thinks I owe my following, money, and success because of someone else. That's gross. Also, less exciting, and something I might open up more about, but for about 12 years now, I've been harassed online by the girl who catfishes me. I know it's her because she ended up admitting to it last year when I called her out on it, saying it was because she was stressed and didn't have another outlet for it. Also, she felt betrayed because I stopped responding to her
Holy shit,
email.
wait, so she's making up this character. Is she turning Emily into the stalker now? Is that what's happening? She's pretending that Emily's the real stalker even though she stalked Emily? Is that what's happening? That's fucking insane. Okay.
After a while. Because of her harassing me, my boyfriend, my friends, and sometimes going as far as to try to get me fired, I don't trust people very easily online. Jesus. Isn't that a coinky dink? That right there is the most passive-aggressive shit I have ever read, and is also...
Well, if it's true that, like, she actually was part of the stalking, then that's, like, really fucked up, because she knows exactly what she's doing then. Jesus Christ.
One of the many breadcrumbs that she started leaving behind that she had a quote-unquote stalker named Amy. I think it's funny that she picked the name Amy. I think she deliberately picked a name that was very close to mine so that if I ever came out with allegations, she could be like, see, I even chose Amy because it sounds like Emily. And of course, she picked all the things that she did to me, so then I couldn't even come out if I wanted to, because then it would seem like I was copying her instead of her copying me.
Being fed up with this and the breadcrumbs, Emily finally decides to confront her.
Is it Andrew? We can be candid now because I know it's one of you. Those fake accounts you've been making have led me right to Oregon. I suspected it was him at first when he went on a spree on his main account on Twitter, trying to convince my followers I bought my subscribers and my views. Almost immediately after he did that, a mysterious new Twitter account accused me of the same thing, also with an IP from that area in Oregon. When I first started to get harassed, you both must still have been in San Jose, because that IP came from somewhere in San
for 15 months.
Yeah, I'm not going to play the eyes on the screen.
San Jose. But at the time, I had no idea who it was. But now, over time, in order to protect myself and my family, I decided to get smarter. So I just really don't know if it's you or him. Either way, I've been giving all this information to the police, including the more accurate IP from that Lily Singh account. All I ask is to be left alone by you and your boyfriend. It's been 8 years. I also forgot to mention that I baited that Lily Singh account into clicking a link with an IP tracker that led me straight to their new location because they had since moved. Now, interestingly enough, one of the IPs that I had tracked to where they had lived before was from a
Why is everybody clicking on IP trackers? Why are they all so fucking dumb?
library.
From here, Shannon takes a similar tactic she used with Hopeless Peaches by claiming the thing was happening to her and other content creators, but fails to mention any other content creator, thus not providing any evidence, which helps her at times lie or bend the truth at her will. Besides that, she was also saying that she was getting similar treatment by her stalker, claiming that her stalker did a similar thing by photoshopping Shannon's face onto a cam girl for the purpose of trying to convince her mom that she was camming.
What the fuck?
But with all this, Shannon never provides any evidence. As she previously mentioned, she deleted every email when contacting her stalker. And though Emily, within these messages, claims that she's hiring a PI and attempting to get a restraining order against Shannon and Anthony, she later decides against that decision, as maybe after this confrontation it would end. And conveniently, the number of threats, DMs, and random comments, according to Emily, plummeted after this confrontation.
Fine, Shannon. It's hard enough going through what you went through, and we're both more than happy and willing to sign something that says we will not contact you again in any form ever again. And back at you, I'm happy this helps, and happy this made you feel at least a little bit better. It was never my intention to make you feel any which way, but I understand where you're coming from and why you did. Never feel like you have to apologize for that. And I said, thank you so much. Good night. And that was it.
Okay.
After that conversation with Shannon, I never received another threat or taunt again. And that, to me, just further solidified in my mind that my stalker was Shannon and Andrew.
That was the summary of Emily's 2-hour-long video.
Okay.
A video that 2 weeks after posting hit around 3 million views. That's more than 200,000 views a day on average. But with this video's views going up, CreepShow subscribers and video views were going down. An interesting aspect about the negative video views is that happens whenever you private, unlist, or delete a video. 2 million views worth of videos were removed from her channel on the day the locale leaks were posted.
Wow.
It was only 2 days after they were posted that anyone was truly aware of them. So it is a fascinating coincidence that all these videos were hid from the public eye before most people knew about the accusations, with more videos following suit in the coming days. Some were related to her alleged stalker Amy, and also removed was a video talking about how she approves of the criticisms she receives from locale. but other videos had no relation to anything being discussed in recent time. The more impactful thing was not the loss in views, but the amount of subscribers she was bleeding. This was an exodus that began shortly after the locale leaks were outed, starting at the loss of 1,000 a day, which is alarming enough, then peaking at 8,000 a day until Emily's video was released. That number jumped up to above 10,000, where just 2 weeks after the locale leaks were brought to light, CreepShow had already lost 100,000 subs.
That's fucking crazy. 100,000? What the fuck? That's nuts.
Or 1/5 of her subscriber base, with more on the way. This was not just the result.
She got fucking nay-nayed hard, bro. Holy shit.
Of the locale post or Emily's video, but the many content creators coming out against CreepShow at the time. As it happens with most cancelings, this had people with both high association to CreepShow and those who hardly had any interaction with her jumping on the trend to give their piece or opinion of the cancelled creator. Yeah. A byproduct of so much information coming out is there is typically little motivation to vet all information. As with these other accusations coming out, it is understood that if CreepShow could have stalked Emily for several years, then she is capable of much more. Another allegation that got a decent amount of traction was a 22-tweet-long Twitter thread of...
Alright, she still has a video up. She's sitting pretty at about 300,000. Okay. You know? That sounds pretty good.
So this video...
Not bad, I guess. Wait a minute. You know what's so interesting? I clicked on a random video because this I figured this is Eric Biznick or something from TikTok. He's a fucking pedophile. I don't know if this is a positive or negative thing, but it says it's my birthday, and this guy said he's gonna hit me with a car. Yeah, if you look right here as Eric Biznick, Papa Gut. This is a video right here where this dude's trying to like talk to fucking young girls and smell their farts in their feet and shit like that. Like, not even kidding. Some weird ass shit. Is that what she?
This video is more than likely going to go up on my birthday, which is really hard. But it's my fault that he threatened to hit me with his.
Never threatened to beat you up, but I did make a mention of.
Yeah, this guy's a fucking animal. Just so you guys know, I genuinely recommend checking out that video that I showed you guys. Because he's a fucking predator, like legitimately a fucking predator.
User Coultergeist, who met Shannon during their freshman year of college in 2011, where they corroborated that Shannon was stalking Emily through the time that they knew her. Another Twitter thread that focused on Shannon was Shannon's sister, the very same Twitter account that was doxed by the locale post. Before being privated and later deleted, Shannon's sister did an Ask Me Anything for the various questions that were being tossed at her. Parallel to the tweet's archival in the Wayback Machine are screenshots users saved of the tweets. One user going as far as to archive some of them in a Google Drive. Many of these are not too relevant to us, but this one is, in where she further backs the accusations that Shannon was heavily harassing someone several years back through multiple accounts. As for the content creators coming out about their experiences with Shannon, many were being pressured and pestered by viewers to make a video coming out against her, mostly because of their association with her. This is something that is echoed in many videos discussing Shannon at this time, as many delay talking about her for a variety of reasons. The most reoccurring seems to be that they wanted to wait until some of the dust settled because these allegations were so damning. And in relation to that, there were many creators that Shannon never insulted through locale, and might have genuinely cared for. So it was difficult for many to come out with their experiences against Shannon, as they had to pin this negative side of her with the positive one they experienced. Some creators, like Ready to Glare, initially came out in her defense, but retracted her claims after severe backlash and after looking further into the situation. But before...
Okay. I don't know, sometimes people just say they just walk shit back just because they get backlash and they don't really necessarily mean it, but okay.
Shannon cut contact with creators by changing her private number and disabling her Instagram account. On an Instagram story, she was claiming to leave the internet and come back when she was able to prove that she was innocent without a shadow of a doubt, doing so by legal means. Also saying that she realized what a lot of what she thought were friendships were not, as she was seeing many content creators she once supported now opposing her. But also, to many content creators in private, she was asking them not to defend her, and not to become attached to the situation, as many content creators and viewers alike wanted to believe this was not her.
It's insane. This ended up in another back and forth, which led her to telling me to just forget her and not associate with her to prevent people from attacking me online, and frankly, that pissed me off.
Why? Why would that piss you off? I mean, like when I had my TikTok like deplatforming, like I said the same thing to my TikTok friends. I said, don't bother trying to defend me because like I'm going down and like it is what it is, and like don't even worry about it. Don't put yourself in the fucking crossfire. You know, and then like, you know, it is what it is, brother. You have a bad time, and that's life, brother. But okay.
Because I was already being attacked online over her. That made me overall just really done with the situation, which I told her and I let her know she had my number if she needed anything, but I was done with it. After I later found out that Tipster had asked her the same thing and Shannon told him essentially she didn't trust he wouldn't leak the information despite them being friends, I don't regret bowing out when I did.
Like, just alarm bells were ringing.
Okay.
What she told me is that she didn't want me or anyone else defending her. Now, a lot of people are comparing this to the John Swan situation. And while
why would that be alarming? Why are people thinking that's an alarming thing to do? That she just doesn't want people defending her to go down with the ship. I don't know. Okay, maybe I'm just
there is
dumb.
Lying to friends' faces involved. This is a little bit different than John Swan, and I'll tell you why. John Swan lied to our faces and allowed us to go out on a limb and defend him. So when it inevitably came out that he was lying, it all blew up in our faces, and we all caught shit for it. CreepShow is a little bit different. CreepShow is openly telling us, do not defend me. Now, I take two things from this statement. One, I think she knows she's lying, and that's why she doesn't want us to defend her. Because she knows that we will catch shit if we defend her, and the truth eventually comes out, right? But the other thing I take from this is that she saw what happened in the John Swan situation. She saw that we got shit for defending John. And even though she's lying to our faces as our friends, she actually does care about us a little bit. And so she's telling us not to defend her because she knows the truth is going to come out eventually.
As for her intention, she could have been requesting this, as if the content creators were to defend her, they would get much flack, but she wanted to avoid it going through. That is the more positive perspective, though the negative one suggests that she is guilty and knows her.
Wait, what did I miss? What is this? Pansexuality isn't real. You're just bi. You aren't even bi. You're married. You're a married man. Who cares? Not everything is about being in the LGBTQ community. What the fuck is this?
Her actions are irredeemable. So if she were to have these content creators fall in her place, then it would look even worse on her if she admitted to being guilty of these actions. And while she stayed true to her word that she wouldn't post, she didn't do so publicly. But she...
All right, so just a quick little recap, okay? Here's what my understanding of this is that Shannon, CreepShow Art, right? Her boyfriend was dating Emily. Okay. And then he started to date her. And then I guess Emily said something about her voice sucking or some shit. I don't fucking know. So they decided to hack into her shit and hack into her Facebook and then take nude pictures of her and then send them to workplaces so that she couldn't get a job, basically, right? That's pretty much everything that happened? Is that my understanding? Am I correct on that?
Did reactivate her Instagram account to respond to Tipster, a new style content creator who prior to this event had association with her. To provide more context, Anthony, Shannon's husband, YouTube channel was discovered, which is when he deleted all the content off the channel and changed the name to Alan Wake, where Tipster posted a question in the discussion tab, asking, why did you delete all your videos and rename the channel? This is a question that Tipster posed in July. But that's when, now in August, CreepShow seemingly broke her streak of silence to respond to Tipster on Instagram a little over 2 weeks after he tried to reach out to her again to hear her side of the story, which is when she responded and accused Tipster of perpetuating these accusations against her boyfriend that he R-worded Emily.
Look at it. This is the YouTube channel, which was later...
Oh, right, and then Anthony fucking also raped her when they were together in some capacity, which I'm not 100% understanding of exactly how it happened, but okay.
Like, after this controversy kind of went down, they removed all the content from the channel, and then on top of that, they renamed the channel. And so I simply asked in the comments, why did you delete all your videos and rename the channel? That's it. That's all I said. This is back in July 17th. So this was like a day or two after they reactivated their Instagram. And I said, I don't know if you're reading messages here, and yes, I have been publicly critical of you and stand by what I said, but I'm still here if you need to talk. And initially, I didn't get a response from that. So I just kind of I figured I'd wait like a day or two and see do I get a response here? And I didn't get a response. So I just kind of assumed okay, they're not reading DMs, or if they're reading DMs, they're not responding to them. Whatever, no big deal. But I got a response last night, or rather this morning at 1:11 a.m. You want me to talk to you after you commented on my husband's channel because of a provably false accusation. Really? You thought that was smart?
She was high on heroin and Anthony came into her room through her window and had sex with her unconscious. Oh, yeah, that's pretty fucked up.
Okay. That sounds like a very serious claim to make about me. Makes it seem like not only did I leave a comment on their husband's channel, but it was like a horrible one, right?
though Tipster explains that he only discussed and labeled them as accusations. But she also accuses him of going after her husband publicly when all Tipster did is pose a question that got a little traction, which amongst other things, like saying that there is obvious evidence clearing his name when there is none.
Well, I mean, I feel like this is a very he said, she said type of a scenario. There's nothing that you can really do to clear this. What's the objective proof? I don't understand.
This is a tactic she used in opposition against Hopeless Peaches and Emily. But this entire exchange shows how defensive she is when it comes to her husband. And while the momentum and motivation to discuss CreepShow slowed down, discussion of her still persisted. Especially when leaked audio logs where Shannon says that Gabby Hanna is bad at manipulating came out.
Ugh. My issue with Gabby is she is not good at being manipulative at all.
That was Shannon? What a fucking idiot. That's so funny. I mean, she probably isn't very good at being manipulative, but that's actually very funny.
Some viewers took this as, since CreepShow is saying Gabby Hanna is bad at manipulating, Shannon might know how to properly manipulate. But it could also just very well be an observation. Though now due to everything coming out, most commentators and viewers...
Maybe she's saying that she has the capacity to manipulate, but she would never do that.
...had an ever-souring opinion of CreepShow. During the same month, Emily made a follow-up video on August 21st, 2021, titled, CreepShow Art Did Not Work Alone. A large part of this follow-up is proving the legitimacy of the DMs showcased in her previous video via showing them on her phone and scrolling through them, as it would be more difficult to fake such screenshots with this new proven layer. This video mostly showed additional archive screenshots between her and Anthony, along with further proof that links him to being her stalker. Nothing too major, but it did hammer the point that the focus should not be entirely on Shannon. And on the same note, and after this, the focus around Shannon seemed to have died down, with videos discussing her popping up every now and then. There was not much to keep the momentum going, as she still hadn't come back to posting or uploading videos, with her last video uploaded on June 6th, which was not in relation to any of the ongoing drama.
Why pride exists plus straight pride doesn't. Is this what the content that she makes is? Like weird shit like that? I just heard like the anti-LGBTQ one for whatever before, like the pansexual doesn't exist, blah blah blah. You know? Okay.
That was until December, which was 4 months after Emily's most recent video, where on New Year's Eve, Shannon uploaded an about 2.5 long video titled The Lies of Emily Artful, parentheses with evidence. This was based on a 90-page document she wrote up, and looking at this video, it is typical for a video made after a scandal to have a larger ratio of dislikes to likes. But it is rare
too bad we can't see that.
Find a video that performed as poorly as Shannon's. Receiving 71,000 dislikes and only 2,300 likes, this video failed terribly in many respects.
Wow.
At most, it helped prove that Shannon nor Anthony was behind the Snapchat user Kilgore Trout that sent Emily random Snapchats about a mind-bending, thumb-bending video, as it was discovered that many other creators were receiving such messages sourced to a video attempting to go viral via these cryptic and bothersome messages. But the thing is, many of Shannon's claims were not substantiated, like claiming that she wasn't involved in making Emily lose her job. An example of this weak linkage is as follows. Shannon says it couldn't have been them that got Emily fired from her job because she wasn't camming at the time, and there were videos of her nude around the internet. Their sole source to prove that she wasn't camming around this time is a Twitter account that tweeted for a period in 2014. And with that, they somehow have an absolute certainty that it was not probable that Emily could have later established this Twitter for her camming account and just had to establish it alongside it. Shannon seems certain in her videos, but Emily is cautious when making these claims, and does often say that they were possibly not involved in much of the harassment in her own original video, as it's difficult to verify that many of these accounts had any involvement with Anthony or Shannon beyond speculation. Emily is also open about her past, where, by her own words, she was a terrible person that did terrible things, but has improved upon herself.
What does that mean? Okay.
And that's a large part of Shannon's new video, what should have been a video focusing on disproving the locale allegations and proving that Amy exists. Instead,
when did CreepShow stop doing this? Like, I'm trying to understand. Like, what kind of people are doing this, and then like, what's Emily's potential involvement? I guess none, because CreepShow Art didn't come forward and say like Emily was like a fucking piece of shit or something, I guess.
This is a video that dedicates about 2 hours to Emily's past, dating all the way back from middle school, and is attempting to make Emily an uncredible figure now for her actions 16 years ago.
Reports of 18 people of abusing her in her life, including her own parents. She later retracted most of these claims.
Hold on, I'm looking for this. Mom scared me, for example. One time she picked up a little clock and threw it at the ground, broke it. She started crying and slapped me. It was so fucking weird that oh honey, let's never fight again, boohoo. Okay.
names and now states they're all loving. In her first DeviantArt profile under the name Gothic Kazooie, which is clearly her as seen in this picture, Emily talks about stalking her teacher in various posts, something she admits to doing in her video uploaded in 2016 titled My 7th Grade Flip Flu.
I mean, that's pretty normal for young girls to fucking simp after their teacher or whatever, and young boys too, I guess, so okay. I mean, wow, what a horrible person, I guess. What the fuck?
Fun fact, I had a fucking huge crush on my teacher. It's just embarrassing and shameful, so you'll see him randomly in here.
That's totally normal behavior for a young girl. Like, what the fuck?
In the video, she says that this was harmless, however, it was clearly not. She makes a fan character out of her teacher, who she named Gizmo, takes photos of him without knowing, which he then states he told her to delete, calls him sexy, states she loves him, draws him sexually, and after feeling upset by him being cold towards her, posts a journal in which he says he, quote, emotionally raped her for not returning her.
I kill and rape you the way you raped me. No one raped me, lol. It's part of the song. I don't know, matches me and Gizmo. Okay, no, okay. So, well, that's like edgy and shitty behavior, but again, somewhat normal for fucking people, the kids to do. She was in 7th grade at the time? Yeah, okay.
Her feelings.
And though she developed this video after 6 months, with what seems to be with her partner, which may have divulged and helped with the history of Emily, many question how she got such detailed information that does not pertain to her current character. As for the other 30 minutes, that can be chopped up to 10 minutes of old random videos talking about Emily in a bathtub, which is how she may have gotten fired from her job, about 2 minutes dedicated to Amy, where she only shows random emails from 2006 as proof of her existence, and 10 minutes where she talks about the eroded relationship with her and her sister, and how her sister is lying as she never wants to see her again in any capacity, as well as her ex-friend from college that backed up Emily's claims that Shannon was stalking her. That seems to be Shannon's strategy throughout the video. It was to discredit those attacking her rather to focus on the actual allegations against her, as she attempted to draw parallels with Emily's past actions and how she'd accuse others and make her out to be a sort of serial accuser. As for the last 9 minutes or so, those can be dedicated to other ramblings that only brought on more opposition against her. Like the last minute of the video where she both attacks Tipster while addressing what she meant when she said,
imagine having enough free time in your life to have your whole life in a Word document. That's fucking crazy.
Don't defend me, and also attacking her fans for reaching out to her.
Is for him. Tipster said that if I was able to prove that I didn't do what I was being accused of, that he would apologize to me. And to that, I say, fuck you. You disgusting person.
Who's this? Oh, this is CreepShow art? Okay.
You maliciously attacked my husband because you yourself couldn't scroll down far enough on Emily's Instagram and find the multiple posts that debunk her story that are still live.
Why didn't she show us the post then?
You're a journalist, but you just couldn't do that. There's a reason your content.
I'm just wondering, did she show us that when you read a song around yourself to keep going? I don't understand.
Gets fewer and fewer views than everyone else in the YouTube commentary community, and you keep being beat out.
What? It's such a low blow, dude. What the fuck?
By everyone else. And that's because it's terrible, lazy, and reductive. You should rename your channel Secondhand News, because you can't be fucked to actually research anything before you open.
She'd be such a fucking asshole. Jesus Christ. She's really going for his fucking throat. Jesus Lord.
Your ugly mouth. You watch someone else's video and you say what they said.
Keemstar is at least entertaining. You just sit there and blatantly recite things that you read or saw somewhere else. You barely even give your opinion. That's what a fucking bitch. Holy shit. Secondhand noose. Yeah.
Then they said it.
Maybe her husband should use one of those, huh?
You aren't a reporter. You're not a journalist. You're a joke. Just know that you are a terrible person. And you can take that forgiveness and just fuck it. Just fuck that forgiveness right off. You are just as bad as Emily, if not worse, for supporting a mob with no evidence while claiming to do all this research and claiming to care about your friends or anything. I talked to you so many times, and you once cried on stream saying if Shannon was in trouble, she would tell me not to defend her because she's a good person. And when I told you not to do that, you were like, well, that's fine, she's guilty. Even though there's evidence to say I'm not, and no evidence to say I am.
Wow.
To the people who reached out,
I gotta make sure my wife gets me mug root beer because it's making me so sad. Get me mug root beer. I'm very sad. And that's it.
Who said, I don't care if you did it. I still love your content. Don't leave YouTube. I love you. You're weird. Don't say that to me ever fucking again.
He definitely is a little weird, but who's not? You know what I'm saying?
Do not reach out to me ever again.
Oh, check this
that
out.
Is not comforting. I
Pretty cool,
spent
huh?
all my time trying to help victims of what I was actually accused of, and to be told that my audience doesn't care about that is insane. To the people who told me to kill myself, better luck next time. Thanks for playing. And to everyone else, go touch some fucking grass. I am done. I'm fucking done.
Sounds like she's innocent to me.
Even worse was the description of this video. The first sentence setting an aggressive tone with, "I want to thank my legal team,"
which is a fucking idiot,
family, and no one else. She goes on to call everyone lazy and uses the description to exhibit the same behavior of her alleged locale posts by divulging creator secrets. Repsion, who was previously confident in his video that Shannon didn't leak what he told her in confidence, may have been surprised to see that Shannon now did so directly in her description. Now for the community reaction. Many took Shannon's lengthy section on Emily as extremely detailed, but not in a good way. As many saw it, there was even weaker evidence for Shannon to prove her innocence. Many commentators memeing on this with comments that read, quote, "I didn't stalk her, but I know the colors of the walls in her dad's house," unquote. Or quote, "When Emily was a baby, she
That's sexy as fuck.
Didn't even change her own diapers. She made her parents do it." As you can see, that is highly
I mean, that's all the proof I need to know that Emily's a spoiled bitch.
Manipulative and selfish behavior, unquote. And quote, "When Emily was a child, she didn't like broccoli. This proves how ungrateful and manipulative she is as a person."
True. That's so true. You gotta eat your fibers.
Unquote. Content creators had similar responses to Shannon's video. This clip by Edwin's Generation seems to be one of the most popular.
What? She stated in her now deleted video about how she dated a sociopath and that she was misdiagnosed as bipolar. This is so... And on Facebook, Shannon is saying, on Facebook in 2009, 13 years minus 19, she was 16, 17 or so, maybe? Yeah, okay. Why does Shannon have a post from 13 years ago?
11 years ago, that says on the thing for the comments. So like, she took this screenshot how long ago?
Like 2 or 3 years ago?
Yeah.
Or 4
so
maybe. I don't fucking know. I can't do math right now.
Through it for a while.
You're right. That's a really good point. Shannon took this screenshot. Not this year, not last year, not 2 years ago, but 3 years ago, bro.
Just hold on to it.
Bro, this gets worse and worse. Shannon, you need to remember, you're trying to like present the narrative that you're not a stalker, but girl, why do you have this screenshot? This is so...
There's also a leaked version of Shannon's 90-page document that adds an additional 22 pages where she is more vitriolic, which has entertained many creators with her not yet redacted ramblings. But of more importance to us is the first statement in Shannon's video, where she claimed that her response, as we see it, means one of two things. She was able to get Emily to retract some statements, or she took Emily to court. As we see with Emily's final response video, posted a little over a month later on February 8th, 2022, we now know that Shannon opened her video with a lie. As of this video, Emily has not been taken to court, nor has she been forced to retract any of her statements.
Video pops up. Shannon starts off her video by saying this.
If you are seeing this video, it means one of two things has happened. Either one, my lawyers negotiated with Emily's lawyers and we reached a private settlement, which resulted in some form of retraction, or two, I took Emily to court for defamation and came out the other side.
Neither of these things have happened. It's a flat out lie. I have no idea why she chose to leave this in, but I'm kind of glad she did, because it gives us a peek into what was probably her overall plan.
Also, this is the last video we'll be covering, as this is as far as the situation has developed. And what Emily's final video towards Shannon essentially is poking holes in Shannon's theories and discoveries, as Shannon took many of Emily's old social media posts at face value, including the ones that were made when Emily was 13. That beyond...
Well, you know, 13-year-olds are the most credible individuals.
Beyond hardly holding any relevance, Shannon decided to cover them anyway.
She took posts I made as a child, a mentally ill child that was going through constant and drastic psych medication change.
Bro, not for nothing, but what you did to your teacher, that's not mentally ill child. That's literally just 13-year-old girl bullshit. Like, you fucking, every girl knows, like, yeah, I simped over my teacher. Sometimes I would draw stuff of my teacher and me fucking. Like, you guys are weirdos, okay? You guys are fucking creeps. Women are weird. Women simp after fucking that. You're weirdos, bro. Me, I just sat in English class and stared at my teacher, Miss Dorse's ass the whole time, and I got a boner under the table. I just stared at it the whole time. I don't care. That's not weird. That's just normal human behavior. It's normal young man behavior, okay?
Changes, evaluations, as well as multiple misdiagnoses, and she used this information to attempt to smear me now as an adult, because as we all know, the things we do as children directly relate to the kind of adult we will become. So
absolutely. I mean, maybe a little bit.
If you were dramatic on the internet when you were 12, then that must make you a liar as an adult. Hey.
There was no internet when I was 12. I'm fucking old. That was 20 fucking years ago, bro. Bro, that's 20 years ago, dude. Bro, I can't fucking believe it. I'm getting old, dude.
It was way more important that she got back to the DeviantArt journals from when I was 13. Oh, and analyzing the colors of the walls in my childhood home. That stuff is important.
There were so many missteps in Shannon's video, Emily did not have too much of a difficult job with winning the audience over again. Though Emily does fail to mention the few of Shannon's valid claims, where she proves it wasn't her stalking her through Snapchat, there was hardly any need, as Shannon's own video was already damning enough, and it made it even harder to disprove the overall argument that Shannon wasn't stalking Emily to some capacity. Now with things caught up, we can go into theories as to why things played out the way they did. These are very speculative and may not reflect her accurately, so it is advised to take what you're about to hear with a grain of salt. First, why did Shannon think that this video was a good idea? Well, that's a hard situation to comprehend unless you're going through it. According to Shannon, she has lived a very difficult life and has a very negative worldview. She makes enemies with people she's supposed to be close to, like her friends and sister. According to her,
it's all just speculation on why this happened. Okay. I mean, I don't know if I necessarily give a shit.
Normalcy throughout years in public school, which are very important years for development. Even when she became somewhat of a more social person, she still frames these years.
Wait, this is all this is the end of this?
She was dragged down for betraying many of those close to her for
I don't give a fuck about that. No, this video is great. I just don't give a fuck about these theories. Listen, I mean, like, here's my theory. It sounds like Emily and Shannon are both attracted to the same fucking psychotic pieces of shit. This guy fucking raped that other girl. I'm not saying she asked for it or anything. I'm just saying that, like, you know, people tend to have a type. He's probably a fucking nutcase that got her on drugs in some capacity. They're probably both very similar people. I don't know. CreepShow obviously did some nasty ass shit, man. I don't know what else to say. I mean, she fucking stalked this girl for years in an obsessive manner, probably prompted by her ex-husband and or her current husband. So I don't know, man. I mean, at the end of the day, it's pretty shitty. You know, can't wait for the next CreepShow art video. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and another special shout out to all my Patreon and Twitch subs. If you'd like to support this channel further than you already have by just watching the video alone, go down to the links below where you can sub on my Patreon, which will allow you to get your name on this beautiful black wall. Or you can go to the Twitch page and you can actually use a free Amazon Prime sub, if you have Amazon Prime, to subscribe. Thank you very much, guys. Take care.